Mr. Livingston Taylor. So I did a little bit of research on you. You're born in Boston, raised in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Yes, I
and attended school in Pennsylvania, and is the brother of James Taylor.
Yeah.
And your father's Isaac as well.
Isaac, another Isaac, and
That's awesome. And yeah, you're a faculty at Berklee College of Music. How long have you been a faculty member for?
I've been a faculty member here for 26 years.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
long time.
Yeah, that's a long time. Cool. So yeah, let's get into it. I guess the first question is, you've probably heard this a bunch, but what are your main influences as a musician?
I think that certainly coming up, I had a lot of Broadway. A lot of Broadway came from my parents.
Yeah.
A lot of R&B from our oldest brother Alex. A lot of Ray Charles, Bobby Blue Bland, Ike and Tina Turner, the Swan Silvertones. There was a lot of this early R&B, and then as I got older, I started to really love pop music. Listen to a lot of Dionne Warwick, which means I listen to a lot of Burt Bacharach, Hal David songs. Do you know the way to San Jose? I've been away so long, I might go wrong and lose my way. That type of melody structure.
Yeah.
Not terribly dissimilar to Broadway musicals, but in that pop form. Always loved very melodic music, and still do.
That's great. Awesome. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not a professional interviewer, so. Okay. Another question. What do you practice, or yeah? I'm trying to think how to word it. So I know I've heard of a lot of like people who have like had a successful career. They've like stopped practicing. Like, I don't know. I've heard that from just numerous names. But I'm just saying, yeah. What do you practice musically?
Well, first off, I practice all the time. Secondly, I don't know anybody who does this at a high level who isn't practicing all the time. Certainly I am. My brother James is. You cannot go in and out of this. You cannot walk away for a few months and come back and expect to be able to do this, particularly in the deterioration of advancing age. You have to stay on top of your game, or it goes away very quickly. What I practice is I practice those things that interest me. Also, I perceive that I have a weakness in terms of sight reading or something like that, and I work on that. I'm very careful to work all the time on my left hand, so I can improve it on the keyboard. I do a lot of left hand
keys.
work. Yeah.
Yes.
I play guitar, but I also play piano.
Oh wow.
Not as well as I play guitar, but the piano is a very important part of what I do. And the reason why is that the piano is the language in which music is spoken. And so you really need good keyboard skills, ultimately.
Yeah, I need to work on mine as a drummer.
Yeah,
I have a Hammond at home in Oregon. Yeah. I practice that, but I need to get a regular keyboard.
Yes, you do.
So keep my ears up. Question number 3. What was your best and worst gig?
My best. First off, let me say that I don't ever do gigs, and it's for a very particular reason. I do shows, I do concerts, I do appearances, I don't do gigs because to me, a gig is something that you do where they pay you $35 and give you all the cheap beer you can drink. And I prefer doing concerts, appearances, performances, and that's because for those they pay you many thousands. And I prefer being paid thousands of dollars rather than $35 in cheap beer. So, that said, occasionally I will do shows where I'm not all that I wanted to be. But to speak about the worst or the best, I don't have that in my vernacular. My favorite place to play is always the next place that I'm going to play. So if I've got a show in Fairfield, Connecticut on Friday, and if somebody said to me, where's your favorite place to play? Fairfield, Connecticut. What's my favorite class to teach? My afternoon stage performance class on Tuesdays. Because people are there for, now, have there been some magical nights? Absolutely. I had a night where I had no voice, and at the Old Town School of Folk Music in Chicago. And I came out on stage and I sang a bit of a song, and I then stopped and I looked at the audience and I said, as you can hear, tonight I have no voice. I'm going to leave, and if you want to get your money back, that's absolutely fine. You can leave and get your money back. But I assure you, the only part of me that isn't enthusiastic about being here is in fact my voice. The rest of me is really excited to be with you. And I left for a few minutes, and I came back, and the audience, of course, hadn't left. And what they did was they sang all my songs for me. It was really a lovely night.
Yeah, that must have been beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And so that sort of thing happens. I've had nights that have been profoundly despairing, and that happens. Not.
Awesome. Yeah, I like the way you talked about not having to be. I like the way that's worded a lot. Yeah. Again, it makes more sense.
Well, it's what dignity do you carry to the idea of walking on stage? And I carry a great deal of sense of dignity and respect. And I just think that gig is a little disrespectful.
It's okay.
This is the closet. Oh, get out of here.
No, it makes sense. I like the stage performance techniques class because it's broadening my mind. Like in ways that I just haven't, thought of. Instead of just being like a drummer, know, it's more of a musician aspect of it.
And this notion of what it means to go on stage.
Right.
It's like just saunter up there like some the way you go where you approach a urinal after 7 beers and stop it. It's just you're going on stage, and what you're asking people to do is to pay attention to you. And how dare you do that? Sloppy or unfocused, without discipline, without respect. No, not around me. Not in my class.
Yeah.
This is a sacred request, and I expect you to take it serious. I expect one.
Yeah, can't wait to perform. So it's gonna be a great time. Get my head screwed at. Do you have any future projects or songs you'd like to put out or you're making currently, or is that like a secret thing you're doing?
Oh no, it'd be no secrets. But I just finished a record with four wonderful players, a former student of mine,
Oh, wow.
singing a few of my songs, a pianist by the name of Shelley Bird, Dean of the Frost School of Music in Miami.
Okay.
A bass player named David Fink.
I've heard that name.
And a percussionist named Bashiri Johnson. And the five of us made a record together.
Yeah. Is it so it's available on iTunes?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
It'll be out in the fall.
Awesome. I'll have to take a look at it. I'll have to purchase it. It'd be great. Let's see. This question, I don't know. This seems. I thought about this actually before I got here, but just when I was it's actually last class that we had. I thought about this, and it's I want to get your perspective on this question. How do you get people to take you seriously as a musician?
It's a very interesting question. Many people aren't going to.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, do you take yourself serious? Do you believe yourself to be focused and trained? Do you work hard? Do you practice hard? Do you concentrate on your technique? And how's your reading? How's your piano playing? What capacity do you have to work on your weakness? These are the things that allow you to take yourself seriously. And if others don't take you seriously, it's okay. I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people won't take you seriously. It's not personal.
I like the info on that. So when did you start, or when did you say your career started? Professionally.
My career started when I was 16 years old. And my academic performance had been mediocre. I had no chance of, realistically, I had no skills that would allow me to go into college.
Mm-hmm.
And so I committed myself to playing the guitar at the age of 16. And by the age of 18, I was a very good guitar.
Who did you study from?
I studied, in the main, I studied I really studied at the feet of James Taylor. James is my older brother, 2.5 years old, and so well positioned to teach me a lot of things. So I learned from him, and I had other guitar teachers, piano teachers, had a voice teacher, always. And so I'm a very trained vocalist as well.
Did you go to, so you, no, you said you didn't, but yeah.
No, I never went
like,
to, I've received training my whole life,
right.
and I suggest that to my students.
Mm-hmm.
Keep learning.
Yeah, digging away. So, when did you first put out your first song or
My
record?
first album came out. I recorded it in Macon, Georgia, and I was recording during the day, and the Allman Brothers were recording at night.
What?
And it was on Capricorn Records with the Allman Brothers.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. And my record was produced by a guy named John Landau, who ultimately produced Running on Empty record for Jackson Brown.
Oh, wow.
And did all of Bruce Springsteen's work. And so he manages Bruce still to this day. And he produced my first 2 records.
That's awesome. It's funny because one of my friends who actually goes to Berkeley, we both came in the same semester. He lives like right next to Bruce.
Does he?
Yeah, I'm like, but it's funny. That's crazy. So How are the Allman Brothers? Did you ever get to like meet them and everything?
Oh, sure, sure. I mean, we didn't hang out particularly in
Right.
a different genre of music, but they've I've seen them over the years, and gracious and cordial, as you would expect.
Yeah, that blows my mind. It's just crazy coming from like, someone who's like known everyone coming up, like all the greatest musicians. It's insane. This is kind of more of a question towards students or like anyone in music. What skills or personal attributes are most important to being a successful person or musician?
It's a wonderful question, and I believe that the most important attribute is to be in a state of gratitude all the time, where you're enthusiastic when you're on stage and you're playing those drums, you're enthusiastic about that. In these early performances, we've seen people who are pained by being on stage, and why I like seeing people in a state of joy. Does it look to you periodically as though I have a good time teaching?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, and I do. Even when I'm cranky, I'm.
Yeah, it never seems like you are.
Yeah, but even when I'm sort of loud and
Right.
demonstrative, I'm still having a good time. I love teaching. I love being with my students. I love being on stage. These things are important to me, and I suggest whether you're having a good time or not, you look like you're having a good time, because nobody wants to pay somebody who isn't having a good time.
I like that. Yeah, it's cool for all the people listening just to get another perspective on it. It's great. This question, I don't know if it's too personal or anything, or do you feel like overshadowed by the success of James?
I think that there's no question that James casts a long and sharp shadow. The answer is that I live in that shadow, and I've lived there for a very long time. That said, the benefits for being James Taylor's brother. First off, he's a wonderful man and a dear friend of mine. He's a mentor, he's an advocate, he's a really good human being, and he is of great value to me, and I know that he feels that I'm of great value to him. We discuss things like performance all the time. He'll start a tour, and I'll go and I'll once over his show and I'll take notes on it. Key this song a little lower if you can. Love the way you did this intro, that outro. Would stand up and move. Wouldn't put these 3 slow songs in a row. Might mix them up a little suggestions.
You guys are always in touch then.
Oh yeah. And I mean, by always in touch, we can certainly go a few months and not speak with each other, but if the need be.
You're there, yeah. That's great. I think that's about it. Well, appreciate it.
Thanks, Isaac. Nice
Thank you for
interview.
your time.
Very good question.
Thank you for your time.
All right. I'm off.
All right. Yeah, me too. I gotta go get some work done for class. Yeah. I have no idea. Hopefully.
Leave it right there.